There are a couple of other features in Onshape sketch environment specifically that are super useful. The first is the trim. This is found with the scissor icon in the top bar. The shortcut for it is M. And what trim allows you to do is it allows you to delete a line between 2 points. Alright, so if I hover over it, I have it selected. If I hover over this line, you'll see there's 2 points here. I can just delete it. Same here, I delete it. If I want a semicircle here, all I need to do is delete those 2 sections and just draw a line across. Now, trim is super useful for when you're creating more complex sketches, and let's say you over-define, or not over-define, but you create 2 lines that are intersecting, but they create extra space like here. If you want to perfectly intersect, you can click and trim, just take out those lines. Alright, so it's super useful for tidying up your sketches. The next feature is your offset feature. Here, right next to trim, the shortcut is O. If I select it, move over to this T I've created, I can click the lines that I want to be offset, and it creates identical lines, but offset a certain distance. So you'll see my highlighted lines, my yellow lines here are the ones I've selected. The blue are the ones that are sort of like a preview for lines that will be created. And I have this arrow and I have this measurement. So with the arrow, I can drag it and change the distance of the offset, or I can click on the arrow and change the direction of the offset. So you'll see it couldn't be created because my distance was too large. At a certain point, you won't be able to copy this. It'll go past each other, right? Or I can just click and manually change the measurement if I double click the measurement here. Alright. So that's that. The last one we have, well, not the last one, but the next one we have is the mirror feature. Up here, next to the offset, there's no shortcut for it, unfortunately. So the mirror allows you to flip something across an axis or a line. If I select it, let's say I want to recreate my circle, then I'm going to click. See, it prompts me with select a mirror line. So I'm going to click this line because it's the line I want to flip my semicircle across. And select entities to be mirrored, click my semicircle, and now I've just flipped it across, and now I have my full circle again. One last thing, for some of these sketches, if you want to plan out things like a mirror line, you don't want your line to be fully defined. You don't want this to be a completely black line. You want this to just be a test line for you to use your mirror across, right? So this line is not really part of the circle. It splits the circle into semicircles, which is not what you want, right? You want a complete circle. So if you want to do that and create lines that you're not going to use in your final sketch, they're just reference lines, what you can do is you can press Q, that's a shortcut, or click this icon up here, and it's construction. So all construction does is it creates reference lines. So if I click on an existing line here that's already black and defined, while having it selected, you'll see it becomes dotted, and that dotted line shows that that line is not actually in the sketch. It's just a reference line. All right. So I can do the same for any other line. If I press Q here, I can change it into a construction line. Like that. All right. Next up, we have linear and circular patterning. So I've already made a circular pattern here. Let me just go ahead and delete that. Let me just delete that circular pattern. The first one is linear pattern. So what you can do is you'll see I have this circle defined here with its diameter and its x and y distance from the origin. All I have to do is select this linear pattern icon up here, click your circles, and this menu is going to pop up. Now if I click my left mouse button, it's going to confirm it, so I don't want to do that yet. You'll see this measurement is shown here. This shows the distance between your circles. What you can do is you can change this manually by double clicking it, right? Change it to 0.5 if I want to. And you'll also notice these two little X's here, two little icons here, I guess. And this shows the amount of circles you have, or amount of your entities that you have. 3x is my horizontal, and my 1x is my vertical. There's only one circle. So I could change to this if I wanted 3 by 3. Not 3 by 3. I can change this to what? 6x. 2x, my bad. 3x, 3x. This 3 by 3. And that will give me a sort of set of circles here. You'll notice this measurement also comes up once I've defined it past 1, and this allows me to change my vertical distance. So I can make them equal distance from each other. And you'll also see these arrows here, which allow me to change the vertical and horizontal direction. And also these squares, which allow me to change the angle of my linear pattern. Alright. So I'm not going to confirm this. If I click, or I'll confirm it right now, like that. But I'm just going to undo this, so I can show you the next pattern, just the circular pattern. So the circular pattern is identical to the linear pattern, except you're creating copies of your entity around a point. So if I select the linear pattern, it's just in the drop-down menu. Click the circle. Oops, click the circle. You'll see this pops up. There's a similar sort of setup to the linear pattern, right? I've got my 3x, 3 circles. And I believe if I click on this arrow, I can change the direction. It doesn't really matter now, there's a single point. And with this, I can change my reference point, right? My center point. Just keep it at the equator. Or at, not the equator, the origin. I change this to be like 5 or something. Change the amount, just like that. Alright, so if you're creating parts like a 2x4, like a pipe with holes in it, these will be very useful.